Let's think of the idea of specieslessness. We know in water and in ocean life and out in the forest and out in the woods, we've got different animals that live those ways and have to eat each other to survive. And we see that. It's not like we can go in and say, "Hey, quit eating him, try this salad." But we as human beings can walk around and see what we don't need to do in order to sustain ourselves. And slowly over time of seeing that and doing that, we clear our consciousness and see what we're actually here to do. And we can actually raise all other species, all other beings. And it's not some childish, silly thing to say all beings are together here on one thing. But people would want to go ahead and say we're all one, but then act completely separate. Even though if they see it in one way, the livingness that we are and the whole physical planet. So in one way, as in the whole spirit. And at the same time, the whole spirit is endowing the whole physical planet. So you are one with all of it. It's your giant body, and all these other things are crawling on it. Just like all these little things are crawling on this little body that you have. All the other people, they're crawling on your giant body. See what I'm saying? Like, how do you know? You don't see the things on your skin, do you? You're just a receiver. You are a piece of it. You can tune into it. But what I'm saying is with this idea of specieslessness, when people say, well, I like eating animals, and that's what people used to do, and we need it in order to sustain yourself, and I can show you that you don't need to do that at all. If we were at the point where we couldn't think consciously enough to eat otherwise, then we could make that excuse. But now we're at the point where we know we don't have to do that. In fact, I can show you how the diet should be, but I'm not going to do that until somebody wants to know, and then I'll be a suggestion, and then they can go from there. Plus, that also includes knowing people that aren't going to toxify it and spray it with pesticides or try to make sure that it has to undergo clearances because we don't want you to have food that's too healthy now, But if that wasn't the case, I know what to feed people. I know how to help, how to heal. I know what we can do. It's in the words. Nature's saying it to you. And I'm not going to try to do that right now. What I want to do is say with the specieslessness, instead of saying, well, we want to eat these animals, we want to do that. If you would think that we're not different than those animals, so we don't need to eat them. And people can live without eating animals. Are you saying that since all human beings are, they look somewhat the same, maybe just different shades, that this one doesn't need, this one can and this one can't, and this one's not conscious enough to stop eating meat because they're too animalistic, or this one's just choosing not to because they don't want to, even though others can show them that a diet with non-animal eating clears your brain and lifts you to a higher level of consciousness, which is actually what you want. You're still physically strong. You're still mentally strong. You're just not over worried about things that hold you down. And literally, everything that you do when you eat those animal bodies keeps you in the lower spectrum. You stay in the lower three spectrums of life. If people understand anything about chakras or energy systems, or if they don't, you better look it up and just use it for example. You don't have to go word for word by it, but just know that your body runs in that kind of fashion. What you put in it, like think of that spectrum as if you're eating all these lower junky foods, you're living in your stomach because your stomach is just spending all its time living there. And all those things that you eat are there, doing their thing. And what do you think those enzymes and those little miniature things are? Those are burnt up, charred up hunks of fear and fat and just horridness. And if you really start knowing that, it's just, why would you eat it? It's a part of you that you don't have to, but it's a part of you then when you make this change, you have to be disciplined enough to be like, I used to love that flavor. What can I do instead of that? Like, to me, it was easy because it was just, I felt the energy. It just, I was going to say the people, but to me, we're all one thing. I can, distinguish between human, cow, chicken, dog, stuff like that, but we're all just one big thing. So I was going to say people when I was talking about animals, eating any kind of animals, like it just isn't It doesn't make any sense. Not any whatsoever. It's just keeping people rich off of something that's out in the wild that they can benefit off of. And then they started doing it and then started breeding them like a business. It's like a kitchen having to keep pumping out more orders. Like in some places, even the fruit crops and that kind of stuff, they're using them like in a kitchen. Says, go, go, go. I need you to make this faster. But in those places, those countries are different. People are holding guns, walking up and down rows of orchards, making sure people are working and making sure they're doing their jobs. Picking those fruits and plucking those fruits and doing stuff that just takes forever, but because they want to make money off of slave labor and other people are benefiting off it. And if you knew that, you wouldn't worry about some of those things either. So you want to start learning to do it yourself in your own community so other people aren't being imprisoned and forcefully made do labor for you, so that you could have certain kind of fruits and vegetables exotically shipped to you in your supermarkets. That's how deep a conscious person knows and doesn't want to contribute to any of that. I don't want to contribute to anyone's suffering, true suffering, not just, poor people. I'm saying I'm causing my desires and the things that I used to like, just by I didn't even look into all these different things that what happens and what goes in behind them. I just had to think about them, and I saw it, and I remembered it at the same time. I don't know how to put that into better words, but I saw it and I remembered it at the same time. So I wouldn't even dare do something. It would be like, to me, eating a chicken would be like, no matter what it looks like to other people, it would be like eating a friend. Hey, come on over here, friend. What are you up to today? You busy? We haven't talked in a while. Let me just knock you on the head and nibble on your arm. No, I just can't. It's not. Any living meat is a different kind of food. It treats your body differently. It doesn't become part of you. It symbiotes with you. It tries to fight against you and become it and grow into that, or fight its way out because it's scared. Imagine how you'd feel if any of your enzymes were living and had some kind of memory of living, and then all of a sudden we're buried in the dark. That's what you do when you swallow something that has anything living left in it. When you have raw or rare meat, you're swallowing things that those little enzymes are going into the dark. I mean, that may not make sense to you, but I know these kind of weird things. But anyway, I just want people to know the plants. It's right in the name. I mean, it's P. Look at the shape of it. It's land after that. Land with a 5D, which is D is 4 and T is 20. So plant. And you could say P as a piece of, or pi, or as the potential. And then you could say land instead of land D, as in land, first dimensional D. It's land T, fifth dimensional. It's to our senses, all five senses. We say that's the land out there. It grows on the land, those plants. So that's why it's part of the plan. It's Plan Plus. And the more they toxify the food, spray the chemicals, and it's not okay. I'm not trying to put anyone down. I just know it's being done, so it's being said. But I'm going to leave it at that. Talk later.